はい、皆さんこんにちは。今日はアメリカ・ワシントン DC にある ACU アメリカン・コンサバティブ・ユニオンの本部にて、去年の6月に、議長に就任されたマット・シュラップさんにこれからさまざまな話を伺いたいと思っております。シュラップさん、今日は忙しいところありがとうございます。
Wonderful to be with you.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here at the ACU.
Yeah. こちらこそです。こちらこそありがとうございます。今日は日本そしてアジアの保守運動の仲間に対してまずシュラップ議長がどんな方かということを簡単にお伝えしたいと思っています。シュラップ議長はブッシュ政権時代ホワイトハウスで、本当に大活躍お仕事をされていました。
Right.
ホワイトハウス時代の経験について、今振り返って簡単に教えていただけますでしょうか。
Yeah, it was fantastic. We worked very long days. When you're involved in politics in America, working at the White House is kind of the apex. And I worked for a very good man, President George W. Bush. And I actually met my wife while working there. So the White House literally changed my life. Right.
ちょうどシュラップ議長がホワイトハウスにおられた時9/11 があったんですよね。
That's right. That's right. 9/11 happened. I actually had seen each of the towers get hit just by watching television, and then saw that the Pentagon was in flames. And my boss walked into my office, Ken Melman, and we looked at each other and we said, "We ought to get everyone out of here." So we actually evacuated our own office and ran out the 17th Street exit.
しかし私が聞いたところではもう事件があった翌日ぐらいにはみんな避難しているのにシュラップ議長はホワイトハウスに帰るぞというふうに宣言されたと聞いています。
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, our feeling was, there was this period of time where the president did not return to Washington, D.C. And he actually told the Secret Service that he wanted to come back to Washington, D.C. And I think everybody on the staff felt the same way. So we went back to work very early the next morning as a statement to the terrorists, which was, no matter what they do, we will keep coming back as a society and we will continue to do what we need to do. What's interesting and not very well known is that we were evacuated September 12th as well, where they thought there was another strike, and we went running. At this time, we ran much faster, and we got out of the White House again the next day, which it turned out to be a false report. But those were chaotic times. On September 11th, when I finally left the White House, we got back into the White House and then got my car and drove out. There was no cars on any of the highways. The entire city was evacuated, and all you could see was the smoke coming from the Pentagon. Very eerie and strange thing to see.
多くの人が逃げ出す中、あえてもう一度帰った。どんな信念でもう一度仕事をしようという決意があったんでしょう。その時の気持ちを振り返っていただけますか。これからのアメリカについてとかいろんな思いがあったと思います。
Yeah, I was angry. Yeah, mad. I had an uncle. We all had relatives, I had an uncle who had left the World Trade Center probably 30 minutes before, one of the planes hit it. So, was hearing accounts of other people who had died. So mostly I was angry. And mostly I felt like our lives had changed forever. I just hope that our way of life hadn't changed. And we have to make sure when it comes to this fight with these Islamic extremists that as much as we have to fight them, we can't let them take our society down.
その意味では恐怖心よりもアメリカを立て直すという勇気の方が強かったわけですね。
Well, I'm sure I had fear too. How about fear mixed with courage? I think all Americans were fearful. We didn't want to fly. You were concerned about your security, at the White House. There were some days that we used to work, 7 days a week, and there were some weekends where people in charge of the security would tell us to stay away. And I knew that meant that at those times there was heightened security because of, activities.
なるほど。このシリアスな話から果たしてまとえているかわからないんですが、その議長の勇気ある姿に感化されて今の奥様と結婚するきっかけにも至ったと伺ってますが正しいでしょうか？
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Well, I think when you have these historical moments, certainly that impact a country, a nation, it makes people grow up and it makes people focus on what's important. I was, relatively young at the time, and I realized I didn't want to be young anymore. And I had friends, we had friends that literally joined the military, signed up in the armed forces to protect the country because of September 11th. We had all types of people that changed their thinking because of that event. The biggest fear we have in America today is that the lessons of September 11th have dissipated. People forget. It's more than a decade ago. And it's easy for people to forget how important it is that we stay vigilant.
全くそう思います。今この時間軸を現代に戻してみても、イスラム国をはじめシリアの問題をはじめ、またイスラエルとイランの緊張をはじめ、本当に世界は混沌としていますよね。
Yeah, I think Americans feel less safe. George W. Bush was a straight talker. And the one thing that Americans really agreed on was that he projected to the world that he would do anything he needed to do to protect the country. And I fear now that the world is more chaotic and that those that want to do us harm and do our allies harm feel emboldened. They feel empowered. They feel like they can get away with more. I fear that because that could lead them to do even more dangerous things. And we all in America worry about what we read is happening in the Middle East because in all candor, there's not an easy solution to what's happening. The best solution in these situations is to follow the policies of Ronald Reagan, that he taught our country peace through strength. And it's when your enemies fear you that they are less likely to engage you in any kind of threat. And we have to make sure that these terrorists fear us.